Hello, I'm Bhavin Shah, founder and fund manager of Samiksha Capital. 5 years back, I set up Samiksha to put to use the experience I have had in understanding equity investing over a span of 2 decades, and also to professionally manage my own savings with an aim that I should be able to do better than the markets. More about Samiksha, including the people behind Samiksha, on our website, samiksha.capital. Today, I want to talk to you about our experience of dealing with the markets during COVID-19 led correction and how we see the way forward. We entered this COVID-19 led crash with a market outperformance of 20% percentage points for the year ending March 31st. However, we were staring at giving up these gains. A long-only fund manager is required to address multiple trade-offs, especially when faced with market correction, selling versus staying put, modulating the cash level versus managing churn, and achieving good performance at the end on a post-tax basis. I have dealt with the same trade-offs over past several weeks. As I dealt with this dilemma, I was quite clear that in today's interconnected world, things do happen a lot faster. Computer-driven trades cause markets to move much faster, and even this COVID-19 spread has also happened at a fast pace. But equally fast has been the response of the human race to this new common enemy. We simply cannot ignore that fact. That means requiring us to be far more agile and alert. COVID-19 is redefining our world in many ways. If not forever, at least for next year or two, people world over would think differently about what, where and how they consume, what they do for entertainment, the way they travel, and the way they conduct business. COVID-19 is clearly a human crisis of unprecedented magnitude post World War II, with so many doomsday scenarios being forecast. However, what is very clear to us is that the collective human ingenuity will pull us out of this crisis faster than some of the most pessimistic forecasters tell us. And that is exactly how we have approached investing. As the crisis evolved, we decided to reduce exposure to names that we felt were at the risk of sharp fall, especially the names where fundamentals of business have materially changed and hence a valuation reset of a longer duration is needed. This allowed us to reduce our overall exposure, that is, increase our cash position from near 0 to 35% by the second week of March. Having done that, however, we realized that we also would need to move back into the market quickly because of what I discussed earlier about the pace of developments and markets. We chose to sharpen our focus on the factors that could cause the market to recover. Early signs that pandemic is being contained, success of medical therapies, signposts on trough valuation in individual stocks and the markets, and system response to deal with the economic crisis. We have traced past market crashes and mapped how some of the indicators, with pandemic-related indicators being unique to this crash, played out during the market crashes in the past and recovery later on. You can find some more details on this in the Insights section on our website. What we also saw in late March was unprecedented fiscal and monetary stimuli being announced by major governments, as well as, albeit preliminary reports, that certain medical treatments held promise. At the same time, a number of stocks across market capitalization in some sectors and across sectors in small and mid-cap space became available at attractive prices. We also observed insider buying of unprecedented magnitude. Finally, there were early signs of flattening of the epidemic curve. For us, conditions were sufficient to start redeploying cash. As we redeployed our cash, we looked for stock ideas from our existing portfolio, as well as new names that met our investment criteria. And let me share some words on our investment approach. While what we look for in a company to invest may sound similar to what our peers do, we believe we are more rigorous and disciplined about two things in particular. First, we try to understand value in the stock more deeply than what you may see elsewhere. For example, if a great consumer company is likely to keep growing for next 30 years, we want to understand that growth period, the rate of growth, and the cash flow potential from that. We spend almost time trying to understand that. Now that means we end up not buying some great stocks because far too many fund managers, including some who are in great favor today and are attracting a lot of new capital, chase such stocks and bid them up to absurd valuations from which we can only expect returns below our threshold and probably your threshold as well. However, such stocks may do quite well in the near term, and if you invest with us, you may not benefit from the rise in price of such stocks. For example, we invested in Nestle during demonetization period because we could justify owning it based on 35 years of reasonable growth in free cash flows. Today, we cannot justify owning the same stock, but you will find Nestle and Abbott and Asian Paints and DMart and many such stocks in some of the most popular portfolios. With multiple years of capital inflow into certain funds that follow a strategy of buying high quality stocks at almost any valuation, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Such strategies can perform well, attracting even more capital and thus driving up prices of shares in those portfolios. If you are looking to ride this wave, we are not the answer. Having said that, I can tell you that we do find some excellent opportunities to generate attractive returns over time. But for that, we have to work extra hard and analyze such companies using our process rigor. When we do find such companies, we are not afraid to take outsized bets on such companies. The second key factor in our discipline is that we give huge importance to corporate governance and track record of the company in taking capital allocation decisions and treating minority shareholders. Here we don't compromise. And when I say we don't compromise, we do miss out on many stocks that we know are likely to move up because of factors, a lot of tailwinds in their favor. But we know that if we are not comfortable with the past practice, we would not buy those names. And in fact, while we have missed out on such opportunities, such a practice has also helped us from staying away from many high-flying stocks that eventually came down crashing. A natural question that may arise is what benefit did we derive from raising the cash level first and then reducing the cash level and thus having some churn in our portfolio during this turbulent period. There is always a debate about buy and hold strategy versus the strategy to take active cash calls. Had I not taken any active call, our portfolio value, depending on when we measure, would have been down by an additional 12 to 15% vis-a-vis our actual portfolio. In fact, I consider ourselves somewhat unlucky. We were a day or two early in re-entering the market. That is just a day before that 12% fall on March 23rd. Positive impact of what we did would have been even more pronounced had I waited for a couple of days. I reiterate that we invest with a long-term view and would like to own names over several years as long as we can justify owning them. We do not subscribe to buy and own at any price philosophy. As mentioned earlier, investors can easily invest in a number of alternative options in the market that practice in such themes. What we do offer is a differentiated strategy that does give investors an exposure to somewhat a different mix of stocks, and our performance is there for the investors to evaluate. There are still many open questions about how various factors still at play would affect the economy. We are positioned for an economic recovery, not a prolonged recession. I believe that collective human ingenuity to tackle the current crisis and will come out of that. With flattening of the COVID-19 curve across the world, ongoing clinical trials of various medical therapies with some early results already available, increasing availability of rapid testing solutions, and efforts to find a vaccine, as well as heightened level of public awareness along with the current and future measures to help the economy recover, we view odds in favor of a deep but short recession. It is quite possible, though, that we may need to adjust our portfolio positions either to reduce specific company or sector risk or to position us for a stronger upside in future. We ask that investors remain prepared for such shifts in our portfolio during this turbulent time. Thank you for listening to me. Happy to answer any questions. Please do send me an email at bhavin@samiksha.capital. Thank you.